In lesson 4, we are going to continue dividing fractions by fractions. This time we're going to see what happens when the two fractions we're dividing do not have a common denominator. So just to review with example 1, it says Molly purchased 9/12 cups of strawberries. She eats 8/12 in a serving. How many servings did Molly purchase? So we have a total of 9/12 cups, and we're going to divide that up into the servings that she eats, which would be 8/12. So this is 9/12 divided by 8/12. Okay, so to show the work with a model, we are going to draw our 12s. Okay, so there are the 12s. We are going to shade in 9 of those 12s. Here is our 9/12s. And we're going to circle groups of 8/12s. So here's one group of 8/12s. And when I go to circle another group of 8/12s, I'm going to notice that I have one more shaded in, so I do need to circle, but I only have 4 left. So what I can do at this point is I can draw on an invisible number of what I need to finish that group of 8, which would be 4 more. So if I circle this, I can see that I have one full group, and then 1 out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I would need to make another group. So my answer is 1 and 1/8. If we're using common denominator, 9/12 divided by 8/12. 12 divided by 12 is 1, so those cancel each other out. We put our first numerator over our second numerator and get 9/8, which if we made into a mixed number, 9 divided by 8 goes in one time with 1 left over, or 1 and 1/8. Okay, so either one of those answers would be acceptable. Now, if we look at the second piece of this, it says to find the quotient, 3/4 divided by 2/3. Use a model to show your answer. So the first thing is if our denominators are different, there's no way we can make a model this way. So what we have to do here is we have to find a common denominator. So to find a common denominator for fourths and thirds, we would look for common multiples of the two numbers. One of the easiest ways to do this, if you're not sure of a number they can both go into, is to just multiply them together. So I'm going to actually turn them both into 12s. Okay, so 4 times 3 gets me 12, so I'll do 3 times 3, which is 9. 3 times 4 is 12, and 2 times 4 is 8. So our new division problem, the 3/4 is becoming 9/12 divided by the 2/3, which is the same thing as 8/12. If you notice, this is the same problem that we have from the first piece of the example. Since we've already drawn the model, we don't have to redo this. It's just showing us that division problems can look different depending upon simplifying the fractions. Such 9/12 would simplify to 3/4, 8/12 would simplify to 2/3, or finding a common denominator like we did in the second piece. Okay, so when we're dividing two fractions that have different denominators, we do have to find a common denominator before we can divide. Looking at example 2, it says, now imagine that Molly's friend Xavier purchased 11/8 cups of strawberries and that he eats 3/4 cup servings. How many servings has he purchased? Use a model to prove your answer. So the same type of problem, just with different numbers. So he has a total of 11/8 cups of strawberries that he's splitting up into 3/4 cup servings. Notice our denominators are not the same here. So we are going to find common denominators for 8 and 4. So we have to find a number that both 8 and 4 can go into. One thing that I would always recommend starting with is seeing if the smaller numbered denominator can go into the larger numbered denominator. So in this case, 4 can go into 8. That means 8 would be a common denominator for the 2. Since 11/8 already has 8 as its denominator, I just have to turn 3/4 into 8ths. 4 times 2 makes 8, so 3 times 2 gives me 6. So I'm going to rewrite this problem as 11/8 divided by 6/8. To draw my model, I'm going to draw 8ths. And when I start shading in, I'm going to notice that I only have 8/8 and I need 11/8. So I'm going to draw another set of 8ths. And I will need 3 more to make 11. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 eighths. I am going to be circling groups of 6/8. So just to do this, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. So there's one whole group. And then I have to circle another group of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to be using one of the blank ones here. So there it is. So I've got one full group. And then in the next one, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the 6 pieces I would need to make another group. So I get 1 and 5, 6 cups. Oh, I'm sorry, 1 and 5, 6, cup servings. Okay, so I can also do common denominator method here. 11/8 divided by 6/8. 8 divided by 8 is 1, so those cancel each other out. Put your first numerator, 11, over your second numerator, 6, and get 11/6, which, if we were to turn into a mixed number, 6 goes into 11 one time with 5 left over. So it is 1 and 5, 6. Okay, so looking at a model, it's asking us to write 2 division equations for the model below. One of these is just going to be the numbers that are given to us right here in the problem. So we'll see we have 4, 6 shaded in, and this is being split up into groups of 2, 6. There are 2 of these groups. So our original division equation would be the 4, 6 split up into groups of 2, 6, and finding that there are 2 groups of 2, 6 and 4, 6. Another way to look at this problem is to simplify any of the fractions in the original equation that we can. And if we look, 4, 6 can be simplified by dividing both by 2 and getting 2/3. 2, 6 can be simplified also by dividing both by 2 and getting 1/3. Looking at the picture for this, if we were to break this into thirds, there would be a break here and a break here. And I've got my 2/3 here and groups of 1/3, 1/3. Okay, so that's how it would look with the picture. It is 2/3 then divided by 1/3, which is still the 2. Okay, so if you're asked to write 2 division equations for a model, look to see if you can find any fractions within the problem that can be simplified further.